car crashes, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis, Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts with the attorneys of Hollis, Wright.
Good evening and welcome to the attorneys. I'm Art Franklin. So glad to have you with us. We're going to tell you right off. We got attorneys at Hollis Wright standing by right now to take your call. It's 1-844-LAW-TALK. They'll take a free and confidential call, so go ahead and make that happen right now. We're talking about a very important topic that every working individual wants to know information about, and that's employee benefits. Josh is here, and of course we've got Tom Sinclair's come back with us again, a regular on the show. Good to see you.
Good to see you both.
We're so happy to have you on too on this issue. I mean, here's the thing, like employee benefits and what we're talking about today sounds simple because someone looks at it and they say, well, I've got certain benefits at my place of employment, whether it's a pension, whether it's a 401k, whether it's insurance or health coverage. But litigating cases, if something does not go the way you want it, is super complicated with multiple hurdles. Experts have to litigate these cases for you if an insurance company denies you. Tom Sinclair is here to talk to us today because he's an expert in this area and super happy to have you on to be able to talk about this.
I got to tell you, I just come on for the introductions that I get. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be on the show. So thank you for having me back. And it's great.
And it's another one we need to talk about. He is a sharp guest, too. Everyone can't see the boots.
He's got it going on. He's got it going on, always.
Look, when they told me you're hosting it, I thought I've really got to dress up. That's where it comes from.
Flattery will get you another show, another time.
That's right.
If I could just record the introduction for my mental health moment during the day.
So good.
Look,
all right, how'd you get into ERISA? Let's talk about it.
Look, how I got into ERISA was I was practicing in an area of the law that was basically a personal injury kind of practice. And I ran into this arcane law called the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974, ERISA. And this woman had been denied a short-term disability claim, about $17,000, and it put her baby at risk. It put her family at risk. And I thought, this law has there's got to be some way to fix this for her. 2.5 years later, we win the case. It's written up in the Wall Street Journal. The company in question had a whole blow up with me, but I made them pay eventually. This law impacts your employee benefits. It was enacted to protect your pension benefits, but at the last minute, like Congress is apt to do, they broaden the scope of it. So it touches all your employee benefits. Think 401k, all your insurance products, all your group insurance policies. And the experience that I had is that there's not enough of me out there, which is why I do these things and why I always tell people, call Hollis Wright, because that experience counts for something. These lawyers practice across a much broader spectrum, from your trucking to your on-the-job injuries to your single vehicle accidents. You need that experience in order to make something happen, and they bring that value to you. So when I talk to Josh's folks over there and they've got an ERISA matter, I know they have spotted the issue. They are handling multiple claims for this person. I'm just a small tool in the bag.
Yeah, well, you're a big tool in the bag, which is very helpful. But what do you see most often? Like, when does this circumstance arise where someone has paid for benefits or received benefits through their employment, yet an insurance company doesn't want to do the right thing?
It most often comes up in the cases you deal with, which is your personal injury cases, the cases where you have an 18-wheeler that's struck you on the highway and you are badly injured. You cannot return to work. A lot of people don't know that the group insurance that they have is out there. A lot of them have employer-sponsored group insurance, which means the employer is paying the premiums. They don't even see the deduction. You see a 18-wheeler case come in, and I know your folks look for not just how to get a hold of the trucking company, they look to figure out how to get all those employee benefits, which is why those phone calls happen.
Yeah, Tom's exactly right. And a lot of times what we're finding is if someone unfortunately, passes away related to a personal injury case, a lot of times their employee benefits may still be applicable. And so that complicates things where we're calling guys like Tom to say, hey, look, I need you to go fight for this for us in these cases. And it's a good collaborative effort, if you will.
Yeah, and you at home probably have heard us say this a few times, employee benefits. Tom, if you can break down, what are some of those employee benefits?
The biggest one that I see when it comes to the catastrophic cases where you have lost a loved one, which is what Josh and his crew handle on a regular basis, those catastrophic cases trigger life insurance questions, accidental death and dismemberment questions. That's a specific type of insurance, where if you die as a result of that 18-wheeler hitting you, your family can count on that coming into play. But the truth is, if you've lost a loved one, you are nowhere near the right place to think calmly and rationally like Josh's lawyers do. Their experience calms the moment and they can figure out the landscape. Life insurance, AD&D insurance on the catastrophic. And here's where it gets complicated. Your group policies allow you to insure your spouse. So if you're a survivor of the incident and you lost your husband, for example, your husband's policy might be able to pay and you might have coverage.
Yeah.
All of those things have got to be investigated. You may walk into Josh's office and meet with one of his lawyers and think, I just need to sue the trucking company. That's not the way that works out. You have a whole bunch that needs to happen.
And I often say too, and I know you can appreciate this, you want to go to a firm that is going to evaluate all potential facets of the claim, not just the claim before them. Like a lot of times we're evaluating a personal injury case, but there may be a product liability component, or there may be life insurance, or there may be a disability insurance, or there may be some other benefit available. And as you mentioned, we collaborate with other firms that are experts in those areas to make sure those folks are getting that care and treatment that they need from a lawyer.
The fact is that phone number to call the folks at Hollis Wright to get a team on your side, that's the first step to getting all your problems solved.
Let's talk just for a second, and I know we're going to break in just a minute, but unwrap quickly for me, and then we'll address it on the backside of the break. If someone comes in your office, how do you start an investigation related to one of these claims?
I start issuing ERISA document production requests to everyone. I don't take anybody's word over the phone about what coverage there was or wasn't. We issue requests and we start that process immediately. We get the verification.
When we come back, I want to talk about, and Tom really can unwrap this for us, the hurdles you have to jump through in order to make sure that you're protected under ERISA and related to your employee benefits. And if you jump through those hurdles correctly, what litigation looks like if you have to go to that step too.
Well, you heard it from Josh there, talking about some of those protections. When we come back, Attorney Tom Sinclair has the answers for you. He also told you about something else. He told you about the number at Hollis Wright that is so important for you sitting at home or wherever you are right now to call that number. If you have any questions that you want to ask an attorney at Hollis Wright, that number is 1-844-LAW-TALK. Let me give it to you again, 1-844-LAW-TALK. You can make the call. It is a free call. It's a confidential call. An attorney is waiting to hear from you. So go ahead, make that call. We're going to take a break. Tom Sinclair on the other side of the break with Hollis Wright. Stay with us.
Here's some good information from our firm to you. Hollis Wright recently launched the Law Talk podcast. With podcasts becoming so popular, this will be a simple way to provide our loyal viewers with more opportunities to access information about important legal topics and to learn more about our firm and how we can help you if the need ever arises. There are many ways to access the Law Talk podcast. You can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Also, episodes are always available on the Hollis Wright YouTube channel, as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Just search up Hollis Wright in the Law Talk podcast. Don't wait, take advantage and listen today. Thanks for watching The Attorneys, and we know you'll enjoy the Law Talk podcast.
The Attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you.
When we started the show in 2011, my goal was to do what our firm does best. Help people answer questions related to real-world legal issues they have in their lives in a way that's not intimidating to talk with a lawyer. If the issue is important to you, it's equally important to us, and we're ready to talk with you at no cost.
Yeah, oftentimes people are confronting various legal issues in their lives that really run the gamut of a lot of different legal practice areas, such as bankruptcy, criminal law, civil law, such as personal injury, divorces, domestic relations. And to be able to have a show once a week that covers those practice areas and answers people's questions in those areas, that's really the main objective of the show.
We use the resources of the many lawyers at our law firm to create a plan that has a lasting impact for each person that calls or texts. And we also give back to the community at the same time. We are here to serve you, the viewer, each week on The Attorneys.
Addiction kills hope.
But at Bradford, it all changes here.
Experience the difference
that proven treatment can make.
Find recovery. Find community.
at Bradford.
Welcome back to The Attorneys, and we're continuing our discussion with Attorney Tom Sinclair, talking about employee benefits. As we were going to break, you were talking about protections, but we want to also talk about some of those on-the-job injuries.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and the reality is, this is a pretty complicated area of the law, and if you make missteps and try and handle this on your own by making calls to your insurance companies without getting a lawyer involved, you can run into some serious problems.
You can run into some serious problems that will absolutely wipe out your claim. The fact is that ERISA preempts state laws in large part. That means you don't have bad faith, you don't have punitive damages, you don't even get a jury trial. If you don't prepare that claim a certain way before the close of the administrative remedies process, you probably have lost your case. A trial goes on essentially between the first time you get a denial letter and the appeal. That trial is in the administrative process for the insurance companies. If it's an ERISA claim, you have to have somebody working for you and a team working for you. So if you get injured on the job and you walk in or you call the attorneys and you say, I need a lawyer to help with that on-the-job injury, they can coordinate with my office on your employee benefits. It's the coordination of all of that that makes the difference, really.
100%. And just talk a little bit about this, because I know there are people probably watching this right now saying, well, I don't know if I can afford a lawyer in an ERISA case. How does a lawyer get involved where someone gets the quality of service of a Tom Sinclair, yet is not necessarily paying out of pocket in order to have that quality?
You know, the fact is you've got a couple of different ways to hire lawyers. You can pay by the hour. If you're a physician and you come in and you've got plenty of money, I've done that before. But in truth, a lot of folks who've been denied an insurance benefit or have lost a loved one in a car accident, they are going to be in a position where they don't have the financial security to pay by the hour. That's when you say, we'll offer you on a contingency fee basis, and you represent that person and you only get paid if they get paid.
Yeah.
That's the way that I normally handle cases.
Got it. All right, talk for you have something?
Oh, well, I was just going to ask him about employers legally changing benefits. Is it legal for them to change benefits without notifying the employees?
You know, the answer is in large part no, but in certain limited circumstances, they can. If you're talking about something that is vested or that you have triggered, they can't go in and touch those things. But when you talk about employee benefits that you're paying premiums for, Those are supplemental policies that you purchase through your employer. Those are going to be ERISA governed, but they can't stop those. They can't terminate those without notice. Getting the notice, that first time you think you need a lawyer, you probably have needed one for a long time. You got to pick up the phone and call.
Talk for a second about, you mentioned this concept of administrative process, and I kind of look at this as a two-stage deal where the administrative process, also known as an appeal, is necessary, and then you've got to go through that in order to get to litigation if you don't get your way. But just, can you explain that just a little bit, how that works and why it's important to have someone dot the I's and cross the T's for you?
I'd be happy to. When you initially submit an ERISA claim to the insurance company, let's say you've lost your husband in a car crash and you are pursuing through Josh's office the wrongful death case. They are handling all the aspects there, and they say there's this slice of his potential having a life insurance policy through his employer. Tom, go figure that out. Find out if it's out there. Once we start the claims process with the insurance company on an ERISA benefit, that is the starting point for the administrative process. They have to issue 2 decisions before you can go to court. You have to exhaust those administrative remedies before you can file a lawsuit. And in truth, if it's done right, you may be able to avoid going to litigation. If you get a lawyer involved in submitting the claim, appealing any wrongful denial, that file gets documented the right way. We get the people paid before they have to go to court, because if you go to court, it's going to take potentially years.
If you don't do the administrative process correctly, you can waive your right to litigate under ERISA. Is that fair?
That is fair. That is exactly right.
This is so important.
You end up, if you do not go through and exhaust those administrative remedies, you end up losing the right to file a lawsuit. Exhaustion of administrative remedies is a legal phrase where judges will kick you out of court if you haven't done that. And you can't just do it by yourself. It'd be like an insurance company calls somebody after a wrongful death accident and they say, you don't need a lawyer. You can take what we're offering you. That's the best you're going to get. How many times have you seen that in your experience? Your attorneys bring that experience to the table, and suddenly that claim offer, you've brought in a lot more, right? That difference that experience makes, I cannot stress it enough. I've seen far too many people come into the office where they have signed an agreement to settle a case, or they have given up on their benefits and not exhausted, or they did it the wrong way, and we can't help them anymore.
I've seen statistics before that indicate getting a lawyer involved increases value and recovery by 40%. That's not just a sales pitch. Like, I've seen this in practice. I'll give you a shining example that doesn't relate to ERISA, but I just have a friend down the street who had a catastrophic event at a house, and the insurance company tried to lowball them for X dollars, and they said, this just doesn't feel right. And I got involved, wrote a couple letters, made a couple phone calls, and we got X times 6. And the reality there is having a lawyer involved made that insurance adjuster and that company recognize, all right, hold on, we got to do this the right way. And don't get me wrong, Tom will say the same thing. Not every insurance company is doing it the wrong way.
Right.
At all.
There
are some incredible insurance agents out there, some great insurance companies that do it the right way. But man, for those that don't, you want to get lawyers involved to handle that. And one of the most important things I want to make sure resonates with folks that are watching tonight is Tom's comment about a contingency fee agreement. We talk about this quickly as lawyers because it's so common for us. But that means you don't pay a lawyer to litigate a case for you, to do the administrative appeal process, to go through the litigation side, unless you're successful. And if you are, you've already negotiated what percentage you're going to pay him, and you know that going into it. So you have the ability to get the same quality of legal services with a guy like Tom handling your ERISA case or your employee benefits case that the insurance company has with their own lawyers. And if you lose and you're unsuccessful, you don't necessarily have to pay anybody. And so that's really important, that contingency fee agreements. There's some ERISA provisions too that help, but ultimately gets the right lawyers involved.
And if you're at home watching me smiling here and leaning in at Josh, just listening to the passion that he has for this, which is why Tom keeps saying, You need Hollis Wright if you find yourself in a situation like that. Thanks for sharing that, Tom. We want to thank you also for being with us, but we're not going anywhere. We still have another segment to deal with. We've got Tom Sinclair here. He's an expert. He's been doing it for a long time. We also have attorneys standing by at Hollis Wright right now to take your call at 1-844-LAW-TALK for a free and confidential call. There's another way you can get in contact with us. It's a QR code on your screen as well. Go ahead, scan that QR code, and you will reach Hollis Wright. We're going to take a break. We're going to finish up when we come back. You stay right there. We'll be here when you come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching The Attorneys each Sunday night, where we come to your living room to provide free legal advice in a confidential, off-air setting. Unfortunately, with the number of calls, texts, and emails that come in during the show, we can't always get to everything. But know this, Hollis Wright is open all week long. You call us at 844-LAW-TALK and we're going to answer your question for free. Thank you for watching The Attorneys, and we look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon.
If this place could talk, it wouldn't. It would sing and celebrate all of our stories of addiction recovery, victory, and community. This is Bradford Health Services. It all changes here.
We are back. You are watching The Attorneys. We are here with you, but we're also here 24/7 on all the social media platforms, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can get great information that we leave throughout the week. You can go ahead and check that out as well. We're also back with Tom Sinclair, the expert on employee benefits, and you've been doing this. This area of the law has been yours for a long time. You own it. Tell us about some of the most common cases that you deal with.
The most common claims that we see are disability claims. We see a lot of those arising from all the cases you deal with.
Yeah.
This is part of what we do on a daily basis. I love that you think I'm an expert. The truth is, after 25 years of this, there are still parts that you have to learn.
Yeah.
That's why that experience counts. From my perspective, if you go see a lawyer at Hollis Wright, they're going to spot all of these issues. They're going to think well beyond what you are describing as a claim, and they're going to look at every avenue to take care of you. That's why it's so important to make that phone call.
What do you see? Thank you, by the way. I love these plugs. Those are great.
Well,
you're good at it. You're good at it.
I'm trying.
What do you? Let's talk about disability just for a second, because I know there's some elements that have to be proven if somebody has a disability product, and it seems to me, and always has, and I could be a little off here, that disability is the easiest way, because of the fuzziness of the elements required, that the insurance company can do denials. And you need someone to protect you to make sure there are no denials in a disability case and that you can prove your elements. Am I wrong there?
No, you're absolutely correct. The fact is that your disability claim, when you start the process, has essentially what I like to call three legs. You've got a diagnosed medical condition. It could be a back injury from an on-the-job injury. It could be that you have a broken arm and can't do your manual labor job. You have that diagnosed medical condition, then you have restrictions and limitations, things you cannot and should not do for each diagnosed medical condition. Then you add all that up, the first two being medical, and you go and you do a vocational analysis, the policy definition of disability. The fact is that those three pieces can be cut apart from one another by insurance companies, and some of them do. Not all, but there's a lot that do. When you talk about that process, and to what you were talking about earlier, it's when we say contingency fee, we mean not just that you're not going to pay us unless we recover for you. We are going to be paying a lot of other people. In that process, when you take in a claim and you work it in the administrative remedies, which we do, we make sure that we have experts. We hire vocational expert. We hire an FCE. We get an IME if we need to. You have to document all three of those legs and make sure that the insurance company can't sever them, which is, I know, what y'all do. And when you get a catastrophic injury case, what's the first thing that y'all start doing? Is securing the evidence, right?
100%, and determining what potential pockets are out there for that individual to recover.
And that's, I mean, when you talk about a catastrophic injury case and you talk about somebody's vehicle got hit by an 18-wheeler, you go get that vehicle. And the people who signed up with you don't have to pay the cost of that or the storage or anything else. The fact is that you're doing the same thing on the cases you handle.
How do you break down, let's say I'm an employee, but I went out and got my own private life insurance that has nothing to do with my employer. I went out and bought my own private disability insurance that has nothing to do with my employer plan. Are those cases evaluated when there's denials from insurance companies a little different than the employee benefit requirements?
We handle both individual, as I call it, and group, which is governed by ERISA insurance policies. For the individual policies, we assess them differently because the law that applies brings in punitive damages. It brings in a jury. Thank goodness that the Constitution still recognized, and you get state law governing that. So you get to go after those additional emotional distress damages. But here's where it gets different. I don't think that those cases need to be worked any differently than my ERISA cases, because in truth, a lot of people treat them differently. They try to rush for that final verdict from the insurance company and say, no claim payment. I think you have the duty to your client to work it up to try and avoid litigation. To do everything that I do in an ERISA case, do it in a bad faith case, a state law case, individual case, and make sure that they have the best shot. And that way, when we get to in front of the jury, they don't have an excuse. We didn't see that, or we didn't get this, which is, I know what you do. I mean, you don't take everybody and say we're all going to file lawsuits. When you take in a big case, you work it up.
Well, and not just that, you're evaluating what is going to save my client money based on the potential recovery options that they have, and making sure that we don't spend unnecessary money for a client that ultimately gives them a bad result down the road. And that's a complicated business analysis, and it's why you get a lawyer involved.
And you get them involved early. You cannot wait. There's a phone number on the screen right now, I'm betting. You need to write it down, and you need to make that phone call.
And if you've got a claim that relates to employee benefits or an insurance company not doing it the right way, we're going to get you to Tom Sinclair. So if you call us, we're getting you to Tom. Great job, by the way.
Thank
Outstanding.
you. Always a pleasure.
Very good indeed, and very good for you to be with us because you got those valuable insights from Tom Sinclair. That's all the time we have for this edition of The Attorneys, but we invite you to make an appointment to catch us again next week, same place, same time.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.